It's official, folks. We've been seeing signs of it for the last few weeks. A major report dropped yesterday about Gary Trent Jr.'s future with the Toronto Raptors, but this was further built upon today, which reveals that the Toronto Raptors and Gary Trent Jr.'s camps are parting ways. So we'll discuss that, including an update to Team Canada's roster officially being set heading into the Olympics, and they have a big game tonight. So we'll break down how Team Canada is looking into this big summer for Canada basketball. So lots of stuff to dive into in this vid, but before we do, folks, again, I want to thank everyone for hitting that 35,000 subscriber mark. If you want to join the Raptors Digest family, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding this Toronto Raptors offseason and as we head into next year, which should be a fun year for Toronto Raptors fans. But let's dive into the first topic of discussion, because this won't be a fun, at least off-season, for the folks that are fans of the star boy that is Gary Trent Jr. Probably one of the last times we get to play this graphic, this animation, but Gary Trent Jr., it's official. He is gone from the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors, as well as Gary, have finished. They've halted negotiations despite some discussion. So let's get you guys up to date. Basically, news came out yesterday from Josh Lewenberg. We covered this in a video that, per a source, the Raptors were willing to bring back sharpshooter Gary Trent Jr. at roughly $15 million per year when the negotiation window opened last month. But Trent's camp were looking for a raise on the $18.5 million he made last season, and something in the $25 million per year range was believed to be the ask. So this is something we discussed, saying, wow, that's a lot of money for a guy like Gary Trent Jr. that regressed last season, that has shown flashes of brilliance on the defensive end as a scorer, as stuff like that, but just hasn't been able to be consistent enough to be a really valuable piece for this Toronto Raptors group. At least he could be a valuable piece, but at least at that $25 million range. So we said, hey, with that asking price, things are not looking good with Gary Trent Jr. coming back to this Raptors roster, and essentially, it's confirmed. He's done with the Toronto Raptors group. Essentially, to put a bow on this, most talks the Raptors had with Gary Trent Jr. were internal. There was not a formal offer. Only framework and discussions per sources. After the draft, with Gradey Dick and Jakob Poeltl as priorities, the Raptors told Gary Trent Jr.'s camp that they are going in a different direction, and both sides moved on. So this makes complete and total sense for as to what Masai Ujiri is doing, in this offseason, the decisions he's made, because, again, it looked very questionable that the Sasha Vezenkov signing, bringing people in and, giving Garrett Temple a guaranteed contract and filling up this entire roster spot made zero sense if the Toronto Raptors had plans to bring back Gary Trent Jr., if the negotiations were happening, if all of these things were going down. But now that we knew, when the negotiations went back and forth following the NBA draft, when we brought in another scoring guard to come in and be the future of this team, Jakob Poeltl, I mean, it makes sense why the Toronto Raptors went ahead, brought back a vet like Garrett Temple, filled up this roster spots, and just said, hey, Gary, you're going on your way. We are done with the negotiations. I'm surprised it's taken this long to actually come out. So it's crazy that Gary Trent Jr., again, given his stats this most previous season, right, only 14 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 1.7 assists, didn't really grow as a facilitator, playmaker. Obviously had some spurts, had some flashes, an amazing defender on this team, but wasn't consistent enough. Shot close to 40% from the three-point line, not that great from the corner, still only 25 years old. A guy that, in theory, on paper, should be a perfect fit for this Toronto Raptors team. It just didn't work out with this Raptors group, and it doesn't look like he's even going to make that $15 million per year mark that the Raptors were offering this season. And that's pretty shocking. That's pretty crazy. But I get why, if a team offers something similar, he'd want to move on from the Toronto Raptors being an unrestricted free agent. Because again, as that report brought up, now especially at this point, we are loaded at the two-guard spot. We have RJ, Ochai, we have Gradey Dick, we have Jakob Poeltl, we have Bruce Brown. Heck, we have JFL, we have Davion Mitchell that plays some combo guard and stuff. Scottie Barnes is the ball in his hands a ton. I mean, there is a load stockpile of shooting guards on this Toronto Raptors team. So even if Gary, takes a lower price or a lower price point to go somewhere else, might be able to redeem his value. Because again, a couple of years ago, he signed a contract that made him higher paid than what the Raptors are willing to offer this season. So it sucks for Gary. It sucks for, I know, I'm a fan of Gary Trent Jr. We traded Norman Powell for him, but again, the money doesn't really make sense to go anywhere close to the $20 million per year range when just this season alone, upcoming, against for Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, for Scottie Barnes. All these guys are getting some serious bread. So Gary Trent Jr., and that's probably where the decision-making came into play with Bruce Brown's contract option. Will we pick it up? Will we not? Right? That's the direction the Toronto Raptors went in. But sucks to see Gary Trent Jr. go. Wishing him the best. A guy that always, regardless of his ups and downs, was always positive in the media, whether he was coming off the bench, starting, all those types of stuff. Gary was a hard worker, came into this group. So wishing the best for Gary Trent Jr. No bad blood for not taking this contract. The roster fit doesn't really make sense. So all the best on his next destination. But one team that we'll be following in the same destination is this offseason is Team Canada, as the roster has been made official, it's been made public, and they have their first exhibition game here tonight against Team USA, which should be a wild one, should be a very fun one. But, you know, if you've been following the cuts, you know, there's been some interesting guys taken off the roster. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins and Zach Edey. Those are two guys that took themselves out, or at least Andrew Wiggins, not in his own, not Team Canada or Wiggins' choice, but the Golden State Warriors, you know, made the decision to take Wiggins off the rosters. They're trying to deal him in the offseason. Zach Edey's preparing for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's in Summer League doing those types of stuff. But we have the official roster essentially announced for this Team Canada group here now at this point, as it's officially Nickeil Alexander-Walker, so elite defender from the Minnesota Timberwolves this season, can knock down some threes, has been a good guy for Team Canada for a long time. Obviously, Canadian RJ Barrett plays with the Toronto Raptors. We know how good he is. Kem Birch, former Toronto Raptor as well. Big man, can finish in the lane, athletic, can block some shots. A little bit undersized for the center position, but it's going to be valuable out there in international play. Dillon Brooks, we know the trash talk he's been making and how well he played for Team Canada at the FIBA qualifiers last year, FIBA tournament last year. Lou Dort, you know, absolutely clam god for the Oklahoma City Thunder, can space the floor as well. Melvin Ejim, formerly played for the Orlando Magic, I believe, but has bounced around different NBA systems, has been tearing it up over Europe, played for Team Canada for a long time. Athletic wing forward that can get some stuff going. Surprised that O'Shea Brissett didn't make it over Melvin Ejim, but makes sense in terms of Ejim being a guy that's been with the group, been with Team Canada for a pretty long time. You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, obviously a future MVP in the NBA. Trey Lyles, big man, spaces the floor from Saskatoon, you know, can knock down the shots, plays for the Sacramento Kings. Jamal Murray, Andrew Nembhard, two guys that are playoff performers, right? Murray was NBA champion, of course. Then Andrew Nembhard played at my Nationals as well, him and RJ Barrett. But Andrew Nembhard played for the Indiana Pacers and really burst out into the scene in terms of the buckets he was putting up there. Then at the big man slots, we have Kelly Olynyk and Dwight Powell. So again, lots of NBA talent, lots of scoring, lots of offense on this team. And then at the guard positions too, lots of defense. RJ Barrett, Dillon Brooks, Lou Dort, you know, lots of clamping guys, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's going to be great to see. But obviously, the question mark about how good this Team Canada team will be is how well the front court can defend the Joel Embiids of the world, the Nikola Jokic's of the world. You know, in our actual pool play, Giannis Antetokounmpo protecting the rim against, you know, slash and attacking, you know, offensive players like that, right? That's where we're going to see, you know, how Team Canada, how far they can actually go. Victor Wembanyama, Gobert, these types of guys for France. I guess Wembanyama is the offensive threat we have to worry about, but, you know, that's the big hole in Team Canada roster. So obviously, Andrew Wiggins and Zach Edey would have helped that immensely, but that's just how it goes when guys are in the NBA in the positions. I am really excited to see how this team does against Team USA tonight. That's going to be a fun battle, fun sort of duel to watch and keep rocking. But hopefully Team Canada gets some wins, and I am absolutely ramped up for the Olympics. Definitely check out rentals.ca. I want to always give them their plugs, but you know, not official sponsor video here, but shout out to them. Anyways, you guys are the best to make this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. You know, it's a bit late. It's like midnight Newfoundland time that the actual Team Canada USA game happens. So if I'm up, I'm watching it, but if I'm not, I'll definitely catch the highlights tomorrow. But folks, you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.